Hello friends, so today I am going to start predicates and quantifiers, which is very important in mathematical logic. So let us begin with predicates and calculus. So guys, this one is very important topic we can say in mathematical logic. So we'll start with predicates and quantifiers today. So our today's topic is, we can say that today's topic is predicates and quantifiers. Predicates and quantifiers. So this one is very important. Most of the students feels the difficulty in this topic only in mathematical logic, which is very important. So I'm going to clarify each and everything very, we can say that in detailed way. So if you concentrate, then it will be clear to everyone. Okay. So we'll start with predicates. So we'll see what is predicates. So let us assume one statement. Let us consider the statement is, let's say the statement is x is greater than 3. So we can say that this statement has two parts. So we can say that this statement has two parts. First one, we can say that first part is what? We can say that first part is the variable x, and we can say that that is subject. First part is variable x, that is the subject of this statement. Yes or no? And the second part is greater than 3, we can say that refers to a property that the subject of the statement can have. And second part is known as what? We can say that predicate. Okay. So you can write down. Yes, we can say that the first part is the variable x, isn't it? And we can say that this one is what? Is the subject of the statement, isn't it? So we can say that first part is the variable x, which is a subject of the statement, isn't it? Next one, we can say that the second part, yes, that is the predicate. We can say that that is what? We can say that predicate. And what is that predicate? That is, we can say that is greater than 3. Is greater than 3. We can say that this refers to a property. We can say that a property that the subject can have. That the subject can have. Isn't it? I hope this one is clear to everyone. So we can say that this statement, yes, we will represent this statement with one variable, or we can say that one propositional function with one variable. Okay. So we can say that we denote the statement, yes, we can say that x is greater than 3. Yes, by let's say one propositional function p of x, isn't it? Here in this propositional function, we can say that p is what? P denotes what? Predicate, isn't it? And we can say that p denotes the predicate, that is greater than 3. Yes or no? And x is a variable. Yes or no? Can we say or no? Yes, yes, we can say that. Yes, in propositional function p of x, p is predicate, that is greater than 3, and x is a variable. Okay. So we can say that, let us consider, yes, we can say that where p of x is what? We can say that p of x is what? X is greater than 3 is called as, we can say that, propositional function, isn't it? This one is your propositional function. Okay. So we cannot say that this p of x is a proposition. because yes, we can say that it doesn't have any truth value, isn't it? If we can say that it is neither true nor false unless we know the value of x. That's why this propositional function is not a proposition. So write down one note. In the note you can write down p of x is not a proposition, is not a proposition because it doesn't have truth value, isn't it? So we can say that once a value assigned to the variable x, then this statement becomes what? Proposition. Let's say x is, let's say, greater than equal to 5. Then in that case we can say that this propositional function will always be true. That's why it becomes proposition. So write down next one. So you can write down next statement. Once a value has been assigned to the variable x, to the variable x, then we can say that the statement, then the statement p of x becomes what? We can say that it becomes proposition. I hope this one is clear to you guys, and it has, we can say that, a truth value. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay, so let us consider one example. Yes, let us consider one example. Let's say, let p of x denotes what? Let's say the statement x is greater than 3, isn't it? So we can say that what are the question is, what are the truth values of p of 4 and p of 2, isn't it? So we can say that for, yes, we can say that p of 4 means, yes, we can say that p of 4, that means 4 is greater than 3. Yes, we can say that, yes, that's why it is true. Yes, then the truth value is true. And for 2 we can say that 2 is not greater than 3. This statement is, we can say that, false. Yes or no? So these are the truth values. So p of 4 is true and p of 2 is false. That is the concept of predicate. So we can say that, I hope this one, what is the predicate, this one is clear to everyone. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay, so we'll see next one, what is quantifier. Okay, so next one is quantifier. So next one we'll see what is quantifier. Okay, quantifier is what? We can say that, yes, quantification means what? We can say that quantification is a way to create a proposition from propositional function. So we'll see how it will convert a propositional function into proposition, and that is known as, we can say that, a way, that is quantification. Okay, so write down quantification. We can say that quantification is a way to create a proposition, yes, from, we can say that, propositional function. Propositional function, isn't it? So we can say that quantification is a way to create proposition from propositional function. Okay, so we'll see, yes, we can say that what is quantifier, or what are, how many number of types of quantifiers are there. We'll see one by one. Okay, so first one, you can remember, quantification is a way to create a proposition from propositional function. Okay, also we can say that quantification, yes, we can say that express the extent to which, we can say that, a predicate is true over a range of elements, over a range of elements. Okay, so we'll see, yes, quantification express the extent to which if a predicate is true over a range of elements. Okay, So for example, we can say that some words in English like some, many, all, none, few, these are the, yes, we can say that used in quantification. So write down next one, we can say that in English, yes, we can say that the words all, some, then we can say that many, also none and few are used in, we can say that, quantification, isn't it? So we'll see now, I already told you guys that now important part will start, so we'll see one by one. Okay, so we'll see there are two types of quantification or quantifiers. First one is known as universal quantifier, that is known as for every, and second one is existential quantifier, and that is known as, we can say that, yes, there exists. So write down, yes, we can say that there are two types of quantifiers, isn't it? First one, that is universal quantifier, and the sign is this one, for every, isn't it? So we can say that it tells, yes, we can say that a predicate is true, a predicate is true for every, yes, for every element under consideration, isn't it? That means what? We can say that it tells us that a predicate is true for every element under consideration or under the domain. Second one is what? Second one is existential quantifier. So the sign for existential is this one, representation, there exist. So we can say that it tells us that there is one or more elements under consideration for which the predicate is true, for which the predicate is true, isn't it? So we can say that what is the meaning of universal quantifier means, we can say that the predicate is true for every element under consideration. And what is the meaning of existential quantifier? There exist means it tells us that there is one or more elements under consideration are there for which the predicate is true. I hope this one is clear to everyone. So two types of predicates are or quantifiers are there. First one is for every and second one is there exist. Okay. So we can say that this one is known as there exist. There exist means there exist at least one, and for every means we can say that this one is your for every, isn't it? So two quantifiers are there. So we'll see, yes, we'll see when these quantifiers will be true and when these quantifiers will be false. We'll see one by one. Okay. So write down one note. Okay. So write down one note. In this note, you can write down first one. Let's say we can say that the area of logic that deals with predicates, yes, and we can say that quantifiers is called as predicate calculus, isn't it? That is known as what? We can say that predicate calculus. So we'll see, let us consider one statement. Okay, let's say this is the statement for every x. Yes, this is applied over a propositional function p of x, isn't it? So this is known as quantification. That means we applied quantifiers to a propositional function. Now you only tell me when this one will be true. Yes, we can say that p of x is true. Yes, for every x. Then we can say that this p of x, if true for every x, then we can say that this statement is true. Statement is what? For every x px. And when false, you only tell me. When it is false, we can say that yes, there exists an x for which we can say that yes, for which px is false, then we can say that this entire statement is false. So this one will true only when px is true for every x, and this one will be false when there exists an x for which px is false, isn't it? Or let us assume second statement, let's say that is there exists px. Now you only tell me when it is true. So we can say that there exists yes x for which yes p of x is true, then we can say that this statement is true. Otherwise, yes, we can say that px is false for every x, isn't it? So we can say that when px is false for every x, then this statement is false. And when there exists an x for which px is true, then this statement is true. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. Write down one more. That is, write down one more note. That is, yes, we can say that yes, this there exists followed by the sign of exclamation, that is also known as uniqueness quantifier. So meaning is what? Let us say yes, there exists this uniqueness quantifier over px, then the meaning is what? Then we can say that there exists a unique x. Unique x means exactly one x, such that we can say that p of x is true, isn't it? So guys, remember what is the difference between this existential and uniqueness. Uniqueness means there must exist exactly one value, and there exists x means at least one value, isn't it? Okay, I hope this one is clear to everyone. There exists means at least one, or there exists x, okay, at least one. And if it is uniqueness quantifier, then the meaning is exactly one. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. Okay. So write down one question. Okay. Let us consider one example. Let us p of x is given as x is less than 2. This propositional function is given to you. Okay. Yes, we can say that. Yes, you only tell me. Then question is, what is the truth value of the quantification for every x px where the domain consists of all real numbers, isn't it? So we can say that, remember guys, when nothing is given, then the default domain is what? Real number. Otherwise domain will be given to you guys. Okay, so no need to worry at all. Okay, so here we can say that you only tell me. Yes, we can say that. Yes, you only tell me. Yes, you only tell me p of 1 is true or not. Yes, we can say that that is true. Yes, let us take one more real number. Let's say 2. For 2, p of 2 is false because 2 is not strictly less than 2. Okay, so we can say that for every real number, yes, this statement is not true. Yes or no? So we can say that yes, therefore Yes, for every x, px is what? We can say that this statement is false. This is true only when for every x, this one is true, isn't it? So we can say that this one is not true for every x. X means for every real number. That's why this statement is false. Okay. But you only tell me, there exists x px. This one is true or false? Yes, this one is true. That means there exists some x. Let's say x equals to 1. Yes, let's say x equals to 0. Okay, so we need at least one x. Yes, that is existing. So we can say that there exists x px is true. But what about uniqueness quantifier? Yes, we can say that yes, this one is true when exactly for 1x this one is true. No, this is not true for exactly 1x. This is true for various x's. So we can say that this one is false only, isn't it? Can we say or not? Tell me, guys. Okay. So we can say that uniqueness quantifier will be true only when the statement is true for exactly one value of x. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. Can we proceed further? Okay. Okay. So we can say that you only tell me. Yes, we can say that write down one note. You only tell me. Yes. Write down one note. You only tell me. Here we can say that p of x is what? We can say that this one is propositional function. Yes or no? But you only tell me in the last example, we took two statements for every x px, and this one was what? We can say that true, and there exists x px. This statement was, yes, this one was, sorry, for every x px was false. This one is false, and we can say that this one was true. Now you only tell me, yes, initially this p of x was a propositional function. That means it was not a proposition. But once we quantified, then the truth value is for this statement is always false, isn't it? So we can say that now it becomes a proposition, isn't it? And the truth value of this statement becomes true. That's why it also becomes a proposition. So I already told you guys initially, yes, I told you guys that quantification is a way, yes, to create a proposition from propositional function. Is that clear, guys? Okay, so can we proceed further? Okay, yes, write down one note. Yes, you only tell me, guys. The quantifiers, let's say, for every and there exist, have, we can say that, higher precedence than all logical operators, isn't it? So we can say that the quantifiers for every and there exist have higher precedence than all logical operators. Okay. So we can say that, consider one example. Let us, this statement is given to you for every x px, or let's say qx. So we can say that this statement is the disjunction of what? We can say that yes, for every x px and qx. That means first this one is evaluated, after that this one is evaluated. Yes, after that we will perform the logical or operator, isn't it? I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay, so we can say that the meaning of this statement is, yes, for every x px, yes or no? Yes, or with qx, rather than, yes, yes, we can say that for every x px or qx, isn't it? So this one is not the meaning of the given statement. Meaning is what? First apply yes universal quantifier, then apply what we can say that a logical or operator. I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. Can we proceed further? Yes. Okay. Next one, what is the yes. Next one is what is the concept of bound variable and free variable. Bound variable and free variable. So we'll see just when quantifiers are used yes to a variable, then that variable is known as bound variable. Otherwise, it is called as free variable. Okay, so we can say that when a quantifier is used to a variable, we can say that x, then x is called what? We can say that x is called bounded variable. Otherwise, it is called as we can say that free variable, isn't it? So we can say that when quantifier is used to a variable, then that variable is known as bounded variable. Otherwise, we can say that that is known as free variable. For example, let us consider the statement there exists x plus y equals to 1. So here we can say that one quantifier is for the variable x. So x is known as bounded variable, but there is no quantifier for the variable y. So we can say that y is the free variable. So here we can say that x is the bound variable. And next one we can say that y is what? Y is the, yes, we can say that y is free variable. Isn't it? I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. So next one we'll see, yes, we can see, yes, what is the yes scope of the quantifier. Yes, so we can say that what is the scope of the quantifier? So we can say that the part of the logical expression to which we can say that a quantifier is applied. To which a quantifier is applied. Yes, we can say that is called the scope of quantifier. Isn't it? So that is known as scope of the quantifier. Okay. So we can say that yes, consequently we can say that a variable is free if it is outside the scope of a quantifier. Isn't it? Okay. So write down next one. Yes, write down one note. We can say that predicate logic. What is predicate logic? Yes, we can say that predicate logic means the area of logic that deals with predicates and quantifiers. That is known as predicate logic or predicate calculus, or it is also known as we can say that is also called as we can say that first order logic. First order logic, isn't it? Okay. So we can say that yes, we can say that yes. Let us consider one example. Let us consider one logical statement is given to you. Yes, this one, let's say this one is given to you. There exists x, then we can say that px and qx, or let's say for every x r of x. Now we can say that yes, we can say that the scope of quantifier there exists is the expression, which expression? Yes, we can say that px and qx. That is the scope of the quantifier there exist or existential quantifier. Similarly, you only tell me guys the scope of the quantifier. We can say that universal quantifier for every is the expression. Yes, you only tell me which expression is the expression. Yes, only r of x, isn't it? Okay, I hope this one is clear to everyone. So yes, proceeding to the next topic, that is negation of any quantified expression. Okay, so write down guys. Next one is what? Negation of, we can say that quantified expression. Negation of quantified expression, isn't it? So we'll see what is the negation of quantified expression. So let us consider a statement. Okay, let us consider a statement, and statement is given to you. Let's say every student, yes, we can say that in your class has taken a course in calculus. Let's say this statement is given to you. So can we write this statement in logical statement with the help of quantifiers and propositional function? Let us consider p of x is what? X has taken a course in calculus. A course in calculus. Now you only tell me, yes, you only tell me, then can we represent this statement like that or not for every x px? Yes, we can write down. Yes, that means every student, for every student we can say that, yes, every student in your class has taken a course in calculus, isn't it? So what will be the negation? So the negation of the above statement, yes, you only tell me. Yes, can we say that the negation of this statement is what? Yes, we can say that it is not the case that we can say that every student in your class has taken a course, we can say that in calculus. Yes or no? Yes. So can we say that this statement is equivalent to what? You only tell me. Yes, this statement is equivalent to, yes, you only tell me, yes, this statement or not. There exists a student, we can say that, in your class who has not taken, who has not taken a course in calculus. Yes or no? Yes or no? Not taken a course in, we can say that, calculus, isn't it? That means what is the meaning of this statement? Can we write that this statement is nothing else? We can say that there exists, yes, a student means there exists x, yes, which, or we can say that who has not taken a course. That means a negation of p of x. Yes or no? P of x means x has taken a course in calculus. Negation p of x means x has not taken the course in calculus. Isn't it? So from here, can we conclude that? Yes, you only tell me. Negation of for every x px is equal to, yes, we can say that, or equivalent to, there exists x negation of p of x. Yes or no? So remember this one. This one is important one. Okay. So can we write this one or not? Yes. So we can write in this manner. Okay. Write down next one. Similarly, yes, let us consider one more statement. Yes, similarly, we can say that consider a statement Yes, this time the statement is given to you. There exists a student in the class who has taken a course, we can say that, in calculus. Okay, yes, we can say that a course in calculus. So we can write this statement like that or not. Yes, let's say there exists x. Yes, p of x, isn't it? Where p of x means x has taken a course in calculus. So what will be the negation? Negation of this statement will be what? We can say that it is not the case, yes, that there exists a student in the class who has taken a course in calculus, and that will be equivalent to what? We can say that yes, we can say that every student in the class, yes, has not taken, yes or not, has not taken the course calculus, yes or no? And that is what we can say that that is for every x, yes, negation of px means px is not true, or negation of px means x has not taken the course in calculus. I hope this one is clear to you, not? So from here we can conclude that what? Hence we can say that negation of there exists x px becomes what? We can say that this becomes for every x negation of px. Yes or no? I hope this one is clear to everyone. Okay. So we can conclude or we can observe here that the negation of for every x becomes there exists, and the negation of there exists becomes for every, and any propositional function will be complemented. Means negation sign will be there. Okay. So write down one example. You only tell me. Let us consider one example. Negation of the statement. Negation of the statement. Let's say first one, for every x, x square is greater than x, and second one is, let's say there exists x square is equal to 2. So what will be the solution for first one? Yes, we can say that negation of this one will be the negation of for every x square greater than x. So this one is what? This is your propositional function. So what will be the negation? For every becomes there exists x, and this one becomes a negation of p of x. So this becomes what? We can say that there exists x, and negation of px will be what? We can say that x square is less than equals to x. Yes or no? I hope this one is clear. Second one, you only tell me negation of there exists x square is equals to 2 becomes what? We can say that for every x, and negation of this statement becomes what? X square is not equals to 2. I hope this one is clear to everyone. So that's all about the predicate and quantifiers. That was the basics regarding predicates and quantifiers. In the next lecture, we'll see what are the nested quantifiers, and real story will start from there. Okay, guys, thank you so much.